Hello everyone, it's me Melissa and we're back inside of the ranting shop. We're gonna be reviewing Ready to Love season 3, or is it season 4, episode 6. And in this particular episode, we're gonna be seeing a lot of different things, different people going on dates with people that they've never gone on before, and we're just gonna break it down. So the first couple that we are gonna be focusing on is Sadia and Walter. So they meet at a nail salon, and Sadia seems very wary of Walter because she feels like Walter is just a player, a smooth talker, and she doesn't want to be, captured in his web of niceties, nice words, nice actions, nice whatever he may do. She doesn't want to be trapped in that. So she's very wary of him. However, you could see that Sadia clearly likes Walter and is very interested in him as per her body language. She was leaning towards him and just basically almost eating all the words he was saying. And what we learned about Walter is that before marrying his late wife, he was a player, right? After marrying her and her passing away, he reverted back to his player ways. And I remember I told you guys this in the introduction. I said him navigating, dating, and love after his wife passed could result in one of two things. Either he becomes more conservative, or he's gonna go back to how he used to be before he got married. And it turns out that he went back and did what he used to do. And that is not a positive side for any female to hear that their potential mate has a player side, because it doesn't take long for them to revert back to that player side. And I don't want the one being hurt by your player behavior, if you know what I mean. So anyways, they talk about that. He jokes a bit about Sadia's feet and stuff like that, and they had a good time at that nail salon. So next we have Sean and Sabrina. Now they align on everything. Physical attraction, they have that. Everything else, they have that. However, they do not align on children. Sabrina does not want another child. And it makes sense because her first experience being a mom was being a single mother. And I know that she fears that happening again. She's at a point in her life currently that I feel like she just wants to live her own life. She is in her 40s. I think the child rearing situation has passed its stage, and she wants to do other things. And I feel as if I feel as if Sean that's something that he'll have to just take for what it is and let the situation go, because that is a big area of contention. If one partner wants kids and the other one doesn't want kids, there's literally nowhere else to go but to separate and look for somebody that wants kids like you want kids, or does not want kids like you don't want kids, because that will end up always being the area of conflict in the relationship if it is something that is ignored in the beginning. So even though Sabrina stated very clearly she doesn't want kids, Sean was stating that he wanted kids. She felt like it was a little bit of a red flag and something that she should not continue to pursue, because she knows that she's not gonna change her mind. And Sean has done this before. He's gone in situations where he's wanted kids, the person of interest doesn't want kids, and that became an area of conflict in his relationship. So he should learn from that and not do that again, because I don't see Sabrina changing her mind anytime soon. And then the funny thing is, Sabrina, in the beginning of the season, she was talking to Tyrone because Tyrone had spent a lot of his military time in Korea, and so he picked up a Korean song and he was singing it to her, and she was like, well, I don't understand what you're trying to say. I barely understand Korean. So it's really funny to me how now she's teaching Sean how to say very beautiful in Korean. That is hilarious. And I'm gonna post a video right here so you guys could see the hypocrisy of it all.
Culture. It's a good song that I know. It goes Nanjam, Babo Chatham Sada Kunyo.
Yeah, I don't really know too much. Mani ipuda.
Mani Ipun.
Ipuda, that means beautiful. Mani is a lot.
Mani Ipuda.
Ah, komachimida.
Yes.
That's how you say thank you in Korean. Do you know how to use chopsticks?
So we saw that, right? I just feel like at the end of the day, Sabrina was not interested in Tyrone. And I find that for some women, when they're not interested in a particular guy, what they tend to do is say that they don't like something about them or state that they're not that interested in what they're talking about. And that has nothing to do with not really knowing anything. It's just that they're not interested, you know? So then there's that. So she's clearly more interested in Sean. And however, I feel like if Sean decides to pursue this thing, it's gonna reach at a dead point because I don't see it going anywhere, you know, from there. Then we have Phil and Aisha. Now this episode took place, they showed that clip, I believe it was last week, of Phil's date with Aisha. And she shared, you know, her problems with, or her issues that she's had to deal with pregnancy. Both of her children, she almost lost them because it's difficult for her to carry children long term. It's possible that she has a very weak uterus, and so the children maybe sometimes end up not being able to stay there long enough for them to be delivered healthily. So I believe her first kid, she said she had a miscarriage, and the two kids that she currently has, they almost didn't make it. And when she talks about it, she tears up because, of course, if we know Aisha by now, we know that her children are really, really important to her and she loves them with all she has. And she's probably just imagining the possibility that they would not have been there, you know, and it really hurts her. And I saw that Mr. Phil was really there for her, you know, hugging her, embracing her, coming really close to her to show that physical support. Because there's one thing to tell somebody, I support you, I'm here for you, but there's another thing to actually be there up close, personal, hugging that person, giving that person comforting words, telling that person, I'm really here for you. Let's breathe through this. We're gonna get through this. That is something else. That is amazing. You know, and I saw that. Now, this is not the first time that Phil has come in for Aisha. I think there was a women's lounge meeting and Aisha got into an accident and Phil came to her rescue. So that just proves that Phil really likes Aisha and he wants to be there for her clearly. You know, in the ITMs he states, how can you not like her? She's very open. She's being very vulnerable. She's a very passionate woman and she would like that same passion and same transparency in return, you know. So I really like that Phil is a safe space for Aisha. Let's just see how that works out in the later episodes. I feel like I'm not sure if it's gonna entirely go in her direction, but we will see. Then we have Camille and Naeem. So the episode portrayed the convo to be very uncomfortable and shallow. And then I said, what is with Camille asking about people's credit when hers is in shambles? That is a little bit hypocritical. So you have a right to have poor credit, but your partners cannot have poor credit too because, well, for whatever reason, it just is not fair. So they had what looked like a very dismal date. And Camille was being very awkward and doing all these facial expressions that she normally does. And Naeem didn't seem too taken by Camille. In fact, he said that he likes somebody to be more, what did he say, more connected, more whatever the word he used, the C word. And Camille is just not that. Camille is all over the place, and he described Camille as being crazy. Now we have so yes, before I even move forward, they shared on their social media, they spoke a little bit about that particular date. And one thing I must say with this cast is they love to clarify things. They love clarifying things, if anything. So we see Naeem, and he's talking about his date with Miss Camille, and this is what he said. He said, what did he say? He said, Camille is a character, but she's also lovable, hilarious, and a great mother. We had a fun time that day. We discussed a PhD dissertation outline titled Separate and Unequal, the impact of equitable access of high school arts education on student learning, that I read previously. Also, she asked me my preference between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. We had a great discussion about the two leaders. We even talked about HBCUs. Hashtag chairs, hashtag black excellence, hashtag the danger of a single story, hashtag facts. Okay, so this was his point of view as far as that date was concerned. According to him, it was more deep than what we saw on TV. Now, Camille then came, and of course she screenshotted his thing, and she said, the fact that my brothers and sisters have continually covered me speaks volumes about the beautiful and noble individuals they are and who I truly am. Not only have conversations occurred in front of the camera, but they have also occurred behind the scenes as well. There is so much that is left on the cutting room floor. My circle is my family despite what is shown. We engaged in in-depth, meaningful conversation despite what is shown. There is no need to explain anything to anyone. I get it. But the narrative is definitely troublesome. As a strong, educated, financially independent black woman, TV is doing exactly what it is meant to do. Hashtag it's a system. Keep this in mind as you watch tonight. Thank you at Nai Bilal. A heart emoji and a king emoji. Hashtag can't show us too smart. Hashtag Malcolm or Martin. Hashtag Black business opportunities. Hashtag HBCUs. Hashtag Black man's role in the family. Hashtag religion. Hashtag upbringing. Hashtag stuff that matters. So I think what she hashtagged was what they actually talked about, which was more than what we saw. But we have to understand that when these people sign up to these shows, they're gonna portray them in a particular way. So Camille just happens to be the crazy black woman. Like literally that's her character, and that's what they're playing on, the crazy black woman. So of course you're gonna take up intellectual conversation because it doesn't fit into your narrative of being the crazy black woman character that they have curated for you. You know, for me, I just feel like these contestants should just talk less. They talk way too much, and I feel as if it's just really not necessary. You understand? For them to want to clarify every little thing that is said about them on the show. I understand if you do it later, like towards the ending of the show, but not while we're watching. I mean, I understand wanting to clear your name, but it becomes a little bit troublesome because you do act crazy, Camille. Like, let's keep it 100. It's not like they're making you make the facial expressions. You know, I understand that there's more to you than just that one aspect, but since that is the more entertaining part of you, that's what they chose to highlight. And it's something that you signed up on. You were okay with them changing your character or your person to fit a particular narrative. Okay, so anyways, let's move on. We have Dante, Sabrina, Mumen, and Frank. They went on a date and they were playing golf. And you see that Dante was helping Mumen a bit, and she really liked that. Mumen was feeling Dante, but Sabrina grabbed him first and they began to speak and they connected on his 3 baby mamas, and she shared the fact that her kid has had an absent dad in her life for all of her life. And they're actually connecting stories, because you'd find that in the Black community, the Rolling Stone dad tends to not really have any relationship with his kids. Now, I'm not saying that Dante is that type of dad, but that is essentially what takes place. The man creates a child, abandons the child, and the child ends up growing up not knowing their father. But it's good that Dante is different in that he has a good relationship with his baby mamas, and the relationship is positive for the kids, but it's still a red flag. You know, he mentioned that women hear this and think it's a red flag. It's really a red flag. Imagine me, single, no kids, wanting to be with a guy with 3 kids from 3 different women. That's crazy. That is not the best option for any single female. But Sabrina was fine with it. But at the end of the day, you guys also have to understand that it is the guy's turn to send these women home. So of course, even though they may not necessarily pick that type of person outside of the show, that's what they have to work with inside of the show. And of course, she's not gonna really make it that big of a deal. So I feel like there's different components as to why she would just let that situation pass by. One, because the women were not in control and she wants to stay on the show longer. And 2, her options are limited on the show. But anyways, any other woman would be like, hell no. And as I said to you guys, visually speaking, Dante looks good, but his voice is a big turn off to me. In addition to him having 3 baby mamas, his voice is such a turn off. But anyways, we did not see any Sydney today, you guys. Sydney was introduced last episode. This episode, Sydney was nowhere to be found. She was not on any dates. She was not in the women's lounge. Nothing. But Sean was there. So I find that very crazy and alarming, because I know she's not been eliminated. So then we have Mumen and Frank. They speak and they talk about their tradition. They're both from an African household, African culture. Mumen talked about, oh, is it that you can't eat these foods because of your culture? And he was saying yes. And she also couldn't eat these foods because of her culture as well. And they connected on that. And they connected on the cultural restrictions that they both had to endure. Then Moment speaks about sex before marriage, because Frank inquired. Frank knows that he's a very sexual person, and he knows sex is something that is important to him, and it is something that he's gonna want to do. However, Moment feels like she's gonna wait for marriage. You know, she doesn't like leading with that conversation. She wants to connect outside of that. So I feel like if she feels like we connect on other bases besides the sex before marriage thing, there could potentially be something there that could be worked out. But if everybody is stuck on the sex before marriage thing, you'd find that nothing is going to be resolved and nothing is going to be spoken of outside of that. You know, and something beautiful could have evolved if both parties could get over the hurdle of sex before marriage. And that could be said for Courtney and Cornelius. That was her second connection. Now we're gonna get into Courtney and Cornelius later. Okay, so Frank talked about his sexuality and how it's important to have sex and stuff like that. And Moment found his honesty to be refreshing, and they connected. And he was saying that if their connection outside of sex is greater than the actual sex topic, then he would probably try to curb his sexual needs for that relationship. Whether it would work successfully, I highly doubt it. Because you'd find that when guys need sex, they really need the sex. Like it's very animalistic, their need for it. And we don't want another Jason situation to happen. Jason knew very well that he did not want to wait to have sex with anybody, any female. However, he decided to do it knowing fully well that he did not really want to do it, if you know what I mean. And we don't want a situation happening like this again. So, yes, there could potentially be something outside of that, but it's always gonna be a problem because you guys are not aligned in that regard. And you'd find that women are able to hold off on sex longer and easier than men who are constantly thinking about it. Okay? So, what I've noticed so far is people are really ignoring, or I should say, reducing their boundaries just to form a connection with somebody. We see Sean do that with Sabrina. He still wanted to go on another date with her despite her not wanting kids. We see that with Mumen. She's still going to want something with Frank even though they don't connect on sex. And that's not gonna end very well. Anyways, so then Tissia connects with Sean. And finally, Tissia has a good match. So I said, has Tissia finally found her match? He loves her southern vibe, and I'm sure she likes his facial hair. So far, it looks good and it's very promising for Sean and for Tissia. Okay, she wants kids like Sean does, so that's even a plus because other women that he's gone on dates with thus far have kids and don't want more children. So for me, as far as I see it, Tissia is the best, one of the best connections for Sean. We saw Tissia giggling and Tissia is having some fun. We've never seen Tissia giggle so much, you guys. So I'm gonna be so happy for her if this works out. So we have Courtney and Cornelius. They connect. They go on a date and connect. Now they connect superficially, but not fundamentally, because Cornelius is religious and he wants to save sex for marriage. And as much as Courtney is trying to persuade him to do otherwise, he just does not want to go there. He's allowing her to rub upon his thigh. That's as far as he'll probably go. But the actual intercourse, he's just not interested in doing that. He wants the person he's with to have a conviction, to be at the same point that he is. And so far, it's only Camille. So far. And Mumen as well. But he's not connected with Mumen. We've not seen any connection with him and Mumen. But anyways, so the men deliberate. They're in the decision room. A lot of the men are liking Sadia and Shiloh. Okay, they feel like Sadia is very cool and she's very easy to talk to and hang out with, and the guys like that. And for Shiloh, they like that she allows them to be vulnerable with her. You know, they like how she opens them up, you know. So we have these two women being the more popular ones, and the men were not feeling Camille. And I do understand that because literally Cornelius is the only person with a connection with Camille. If Camille goes, Cornelius is gonna follow. If Cornelius goes, Camille is gonna follow. If they don't continue to choose each other, they're gonna be kicked off one after the other because they've not formed any relationships with any other people. And most of the time you'd find that these couples tend to be the ones that go home. But for some reason, they're still here. It's magic. So Courtney ends up in the bottom as well. And I just feel like it's because she wanted to form more of a connection with other people, as we saw on the final date she went on. But the guys have kind of friend-zoned her a little bit. So I do feel like if she stayed longer, something could have happened. Maybe with Walter, maybe with Frank. But Frank did mention that he also got friend vibe from Courtney. So who knows? But I wasn't expecting Courtney to be gone. Absolutely not. Excuse me. So Courtney ended up leaving. I know people wanted Camille to go. I wanted Camille to go. A lot of people did not want to continue to see Camille and her toxic behavior, but Camille is still here. She's great for TV, and because Corey is gone, she's literally the most entertaining cast member so far. So I understand why they kept her, but still, we're tired of seeing her. So, anyways, Camille stays. She was with, I think it was, who was his name? Dante. And Dante phrased the "you are not ready to go home" or something like that. So that made Camille really like nervous, and she's like, I would have cursed you out. I would have done this. Like, this is a prime example of why she should have gone home, because she only has one connection. Anyways, we're gonna see how that manifests during the later parts of the season. Now, based on what Libba has said in an interview with Little Black Book, it appears that something major is gonna go down, and I can't wait to see it. Something huge is gonna go down. I absolutely cannot wait. It looks like it's gonna have to do with maybe Walter, but I'm not sure. But something big is gonna happen. So, yes. So Miss Courtney is going home. Unfortunately, I really wanted to continue to see her. I didn't expect her to be going home. And I feel like based on what the men were saying, Courtney wasn't the person that was the most called on for being in the bottom. I also heard Camille, I heard Tissia, I heard maybe Sabrina, I think so. Other women were called as well. So I don't know, you guys. Let me know what you think. Do you think that they made the right decision in letting Miss, what is her name? In letting Miss Courtney go home instead of Camille? We're gonna see about that. Now, I just want to say one more thing. Sadia, as I said before, reminds me of Tyra. I feel like it's very easy for her to get on these guys' good side. So far, she's in it with Walter, and she's in it with a couple other guys, Naeem and so on. And I feel like she's very strategic in that she's gonna get them to like her, and then she's gonna be in a power position because she's gonna have to choose between two. And I think that's what's gonna happen with Sadia and Shiloh, perhaps. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, and see you next time for other reviews from the Ranting Shop. See you later.